Hello, today's Bible study is actually going to be an overview of the Gospels. People ask why they're different, um, why they might sound a little different and read a little differently, and I thought I would go over them with you. Um, I just want you to know I read a lot of the Word and I ask for the Word, but I am no smarter than anybody else who wants the Word. So these are the things I get when I read and I look for it. So I'll share them with you. Um, Matthew, when Matthew speaks of Christ, he says, look at the King, Jesus Christ the King. And it is the gospel of the King. Chapter 1, verse 1 starts it off. Or if you look at chapter 21, verse 5, and you'll see the genealogy of the king. It leads you through Jesus' lineage. And this is talking about Jesus Christ's entry into Jerusalem. Um, and it's a short time before he'll be crucified, but you'll see that it's filled with a lot of Old Testament information. It talks to you about him and his power as king. Um, and we look a little more at his life. And we need to look a little more at his life. Um, and as he's being presented in this gospel, he is being presented as the promised king. He's answering all the prophets' prophecies in this book. Um, and the main thing is the focus of this is in terms of the audience. In this book, the other books are different. This is a Jewish audience. Um, and what Matthew is trying to do is convince the people of Judea that Jesus Christ is indeed the Messiah. He is the Messiah. So he's speaking to a Jewish audience. Um, and Matthew is has an interesting thing as an author. He was a tax collector. Um, that wasn't a good person. He wasn't really well liked. And he was doing well. I mean, Matthew wasn't poor. The Romans weren't doing anything to him. Matter of fact, he was putting his foot on throats. But he identified with Jesus. He thought Jesus would make a great tax collector, which is funny. Um, but he gives up what he was doing in his tax booth. He gives it up. And because Jesus told him, come, I have something else for you to do. And Matthew wasn't a flip-floppy type of guy. He was actually a brainy type of guy. Um, he becomes this person that writes about Jesus as king. As king. So when Matthew speaks to Jesus as the king, he speaks as is that Matthew saw Jesus as a very different kind of king. And since he saw him as a different kind of king, not the ones that were in Rome, he didn't see him that way. He saw him as a different kind of king. So he wanted everybody else to see what he saw. The key focal point that you see, though, out of all of this is the result when you respond well to the king is to make disciples. And Matthew was very adamant on this. If I understand this king, if I know this king, if my life is connected to this king, the king is calling me to find others who will become followers of him. And Jesus did that. Jesus did that. When he says, you will follow me and I will make you to become fishers of men, you come follow me is your responsibility. That's the Lord telling us, you follow me. That's your responsibility. I will make you into something that you will know when I made you into something, because you will catch people. I will make you fishers of men. You come to me, I will do the rest. And that's something we have to remember. When Christ call you, when you call to him, when you accept him, all you have to do is come to him. You do your part, he will definitely carry his part. If you are following the king wants you to make disciples, to bring more and more people to his kingly realm. This is not a place where he's saying, no, I don't want people in my kingdom. He's telling you he wants you in his kingdom. And Jesus, if you think about it, words, works, response. And you can take it in any order. Respond to them, words, works, responses, word, however you want to take it. But those are the things that he pushes out. And he says, I want you to look at Jesus. He is the king. And this is unique about his book. The first one is that Jesus is the Messiah and the king. And we already have that one. The second thing you will find is there is going to be the establishment of a new community of faith. A new community of faith. So you might want to write the note, new community of faith, because it is. Look at Matthew chapter 16. The third thing is, of course, the Great Commission. And it is the driving energy of this. As you see this gospel and read this gospel and finish the gospel, it is a push forward into the coming of Christ's kingdom and the role of us, the followers of Jesus Christ. And the fourth thing to take note is the whole piece of kingdom citizenship and character. Matthew was filled from the opening discourse where he had what is oftentimes called the Sermon on the Mount. What the kingdom citizen is like, here's what it means to be a follower of Christ. See, his audience was Jewish. He had different things in it, and he sees that this is a king that has a new community, and we need to respond to his word and to his works and let him do what he tells us he is going to do. So Matthew speaks differently than Mark, Luke, and John in that format. Amen.